What about the Initiative Hub and what services do you provide?
Oh yeah, well, Initiative Hub is a communication and coaching consultancy, or as I call it, my third baby, actually. I started it exactly 5 years ago. The reason why, I mean, I've been in the corporate world, in the industry for around 15 years, in the UK, in London, and here in Dubai. And one time I had a great pleasure. I mean, I was knocking on the doors of the senior leadership team to allow me to actually be coached back in the luxury hospitality industry. And they were running a 12-week program for the executive team. And I got onto this program. And, you know, Nicky, after the first session of being coached, I was like, I'm sold. I mean, I want to sit in this coach's seat. I want to do what she's doing to me. And that was after first session. So fast forward, we had a beautiful 12 weeks. Fast forward around 1 year. During my maternity leave, after I had my second baby, I enrolled into a coaching course. And after maternity leave was over, I went back to work, and within 1 week I was out of work thinking, I'm going to start my own company. And that was the Initiative Hub. The name came a little bit later. As you know, I was playing around with this a little bit. And yes, so it's now 5 years running, and I'm absolutely loving it. I love freedom because I actually realized that freedom is one of my key values. I love having choice and decide when I work, how many hours. So this is very good. And I get to spend time with my 2 kids right now and my husband as well, and do the things that I love. And, you know, wake up every morning feeling that it's going to be an amazing day. And it has not been like this in the past. So the services that I'm offering are, well, I work mostly with women. Really, I had few men, but I'm somehow naturally drawn to women. And I love coaching them. I love coaching different age groups. I have girls that are over 20, all the way up to over 50. And they are at different stages of their career, be it the entry management level or middle management level, wishing to go up the career ladder, or being on the maternity leave and wishing to come back to work. You know, during the maternity leave, the confidence went down a little bit, so they need a little bit of boost in that respect. So I have a pleasure to work with them, run workshops about executive presence for women, transform and thrive coaching program for future female leaders, as well as it's all about you, the empowered you, which is a combination of different schools of coaching that I've done. And apart from that, I'm also a communications trainer. I train people from the communications sector, different PR strategies, and how to write with impact, advanced communication strategy, how to build it, how to make it work, strategic relations with media, etc. So this is also something that I continue doing based on my, all the diplomas and certifications that I got back in the day. So that's in a nutshell.
A big nutshell. That's a lot of things to provide. And thank you so much for all those services, from mentoring women to communication strategies. I'm sure you have so many women that are thankful and grateful to have met you as well. So
I'm grateful to them as well, Nikki. I have to tell you this because many times, and I'm coaching is a big industry. I have a lot of fellow coaches that we talk to often, and I mean, it as cheesy as it may sound, but it is a miracle job. Really, people come to you and you work with them and you help them. It's a ripple effect, right? I mean, you help them and then the families benefit or the companies benefit. So it's amazing. So I'm grateful to have this opportunity as well.
But also, you're not limited there because you're also a Google Facilitator for the hashtag IAmRemarkable Workshop. So what are these workshops exactly, and what do you do in these workshops?
So this whole campaign, IAmRemarkable, has been around since 2015, and it started at Google itself. I was drawn to it in 2019, and I actually did my course, the Facilitator Trainer course, in 2020, and started doing the workshops this year. together with my fellow coach from Create Impact too. And we are both very passionate about helping women to self-promote. And this whole initiative is about self-promotion, the importance of promoting yourself in your work life as well in your personal life. And also changing the perception of self-promotion, because many people think it's bragging, that, it's not really my nature. I don't want to sound arrogant. And we're trying to change this perception during these workshops. So it's a 90-minute workshop where we have a lot of discussions, a lot of questions answered. And then there is a very nice activity that is, it can be emotional for a lot of women when we have them actually do this. And, we see a common thread that women just don't promote themselves enough. This program, this whole workshop is kind of like a starting point to help them change it. And self-promotion is a muscle, and that's what we are trying to teach. It's a muscle, so you go to the gym every day and you try bit by bit. And the key is to find your own voice. Don't try to be someone else. We highlight it because we all have our voice, and we should use it, and we will sound far more authentic and natural when we do it our own way. And I learned my lesson as well. I mean, during this IAmRemarkable workshops, we talk about accomplishments don't speak for themselves. I don't know how you are with this, Nicky, but I have been very bad in the past. And I was watching my colleagues, quite often male colleagues, shining, sending their campaign overviews back in the communications industry when I used to work in the corporate, sending their email campaigns all the way to the top. It's CEO and the chief commercial officer. Everybody knew the results of their campaign. I was sticking to my immediate crowd because I'm like, why would the CEO bother to know what I've done? But I could see with my own eyes what was happening when later on, the CEO bumped into that colleague and he's like, oh, you're the one. Oh, I heard about you. Amazing job. Well done. And, picture me sitting in the corner being like, I could have done that myself. So I'm learning all the time. And it's a great journey. I practice what I preach. So we really enjoy these workshops. We have them basically once or twice a month, and we have women from all over the world joining us. And also a lot of companies are jumping on board. So the big wigs, big companies. I will be working with some investment banking who are interested in introducing this to their companies, as well as luxury brands. So it's something that is resonated with a lot of people.
That's amazing. And how does someone kind of get involved or sign up to join these workshops?
Well, if you want to join as a participant, be part of my workshop, then I have the links to sign up. I'm actually running one on the 30th of May. So I'll be posting it on my LinkedIn and on Instagram. But if you, depends, maybe if somebody feels like joining, a crowd that is in their respective area, you can go to the Google /IAmRemarkable, if I remember the link correctly, and just sign up and do it. But I obviously invite everyone to join mine and then see what happens. The good thing is that it's all about spreading the word around. So anybody can really become the facilitator. So that's great news. You like it, you're passionate about this topic, you sign up, and there is quite a long waiting list. So you have to be patient, wait a good, I think I waited a few months to jump on the training course. But it's well worth it. It's good for yourself as well for others.
Yeah, I love that. And just more about that self-promotion and the IAmRemarkable workshops, you actually wrote an article about promotions, pardon me, and the importance of it for women. Why do you think that women need to sort of practice this muscle? Like you were saying, it's a muscle that you need to practice. Why do we need to actively work on it? Why it's important as well?
Because you know what, it's sad as it may sound, we just simply don't as women. And the article was based on my IAmRemarkable experience, the workshops I have done. And I had only one man joining, otherwise it's all women. And it's all the same stories. that, oh, I just don't do it. It's just not my nature, or I don't think that there is any point in it. I don't want to be arrogant, you know, I don't want to sound confident, etc. So it's all the same, basically the same responses. We, you know, we want to be at the top. It's like almost we have our elevator pitch, but it doesn't take us all the way to the top. It just stops at some point. And I think that the fact that we don't talk about our accomplishments is the problem, because we think that people can see us working hard. You know, we have this like, oh, I work hard, I stay long hours, my boss, my colleagues will see that I work hard, but it's not the point. It's not the case. You have to, you know, you have to speak up and say and mention the projects, whether it is at your performance review or whether it is during the team meetings, and, you know, and sit at the table, as Sheryl Sandberg says, because I experienced that myself. I was entering often the boardrooms, and there is a big table and all the guys sit there, and, you know, and women somehow really, I was reading Sheryl's book, and I'm like, this is so true. I experienced that myself. We will be sitting, you know, towards the wall, like leaving the spaces at the table for other people, where we should be the ones that, you know, should be actually sitting there. So that was the reason why I, you know, based on these facts, based on these experiences and what I have noticed, this is why I wrote this article. And it has resonated nicely with women and has been shared a little bit around. And I keep on asking, you know, different people that I come across with, you know, what do they think, mostly women, what do they think about self-promotion, and just try to, you know, bring the awareness of you should do it a little bit more to advance in your career if this is what you want to do. And, you know, there's a different topic as well. We have kids, we want our kids, you know, now me as a mother as well. I mean, I can see how my daughter is watching what I'm doing. And, you know, sometimes I just pause and think, because I have a pleasure also to work with like 15-year-old girls. And I'm thinking, if we start them, because mostly the women that join my workshops are, I would say 30, 40 plus, yeah? But if we started this whole self-promotion campaign with girls that are 15 and plus, I mean, that would be pretty amazing, right? To teach them that you can talk about it. And imagine them graduating and going for the first job interview and speaking openly with their own voice, not trying to be someone else. You know, what may happen for them? Where will they end up, you know, at some point in their career, just because it's so natural for them?
Yeah, I think a lot of women, and in my personal experience, why there's this issue with self-promotion is that it does have this connotation of arrogance. Meanwhile, it's just, you know, saying this is what I've done. It's not necessarily arrogant. It's not saying now I'm the business or I'm the bee's knees. It's just like, you know what, this is actually what I've done. And it, I think, brings out that sense of imposter syndrome. I don't know.
Yes.
What has your experience been with imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I mean, been there, done that. It's popping up every now and then, you know, now and again. And yeah, it's true. But, you know, I just want to come back, because when you were saying all about this, like feeling that you are arrogant, I always think about it this way. You never know whom you may inspire when you talk to someone about what you do. And I'm like, what have you been up to? What have you worked on? Like, you know, let's say in your case, I read your little bio and you were contributing to some project manager on some of the magazines back in South Africa. And I'm like, that's amazing. I mean, you know, and I'm like, this is awesome. So I'm like, it would be so nice, let's say, you know, to contribute to some magazines. Nicky is doing this. Wait a minute, maybe I can do it as well. So for me, it's reframing the self-promotion and thinking about it, that you may inspire someone, you never know. And another good point that actually a good friend of mine made yesterday when I asked about self-promotion, just casually, she said, I like thinking about it as a service. You know, that I'm not promoting myself, but I'm promoting service to someone. So it's almost like a public service. And I'm like, I love it. So you are actually reframing this. I'm not promoting myself, but I'm offering services to others I feel good about, and I'm good at what I do, and I'm just offering it out there. So that was I wanted to mention that, because I really like that. Then imposter syndrome. So yes, been there, done that, absolutely. I mean, one of the experiences that comes to my mind is when without any hospitality background, I joined the hotel group, the Jumeirah group, Burj Al Arab. And it's, I compare it to, getting a job in CNN or BBC without any TV experience, like as a news anchor, and you are being thrown out there. So this is how I felt, without, like, what am I doing here? Like, I have no experience. I have ticked all the other boxes when it comes to the requirements, but I don't have hospitality experience. And what do I do? And with the imposter syndrome, you don't want to be found out. You don't want to be unmasked. You are like, I know it. And then long hours spent at home doing the research and trying to find the answers, how the things in hotel industry work behind the scenes. So it is huge. I mean, we all have it. It comes and goes. It's real, the imposter syndrome. I mean, I have a couple of things that I do to try to kind of fend it off the way when this feeling kind of comes up. So basically, either try to find a friend or a mentor or a coach and talk to them, how I feel, and then hear some feedback. Maybe they're like, this is totally crazy. I mean, what are you talking about? You're perfectly suited for that job. So sometimes you just need this soundboard, someone to tell you this. Then the good thing is to list the things that you are actually brilliant at, because you have great skills. And maybe you just sometimes forget that, wait a minute, I mean, I can actually use the skill that I learned ages ago at this job, but I forgot that I know it. So make a list of your great at blah, 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 or this ABCD. Then I mentioned it in my article, the feel-good folder. I mean, this is the...
I love that. That was my favorite bit in the article. And I was thinking, I need to start doing that. Explain what the feel-good folder is.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that I did again in that hotel, because sometimes, yes, you had a client who was so happy with your performance, or a manager or a colleague. So I created, in the Outlook, one of the subfolders, like really I called it feel good folder. And when I had a bad day, and trust me, I did have bad days, and we all have them. So I was just going through sometimes through the messages in that folder, just reading them, and like, hey, I can perform well. Today is just a bad day, or something didn't work out. I don't know, somebody didn't renew the contract with you, or somebody pulled out from the project. It's okay. But, reading these little messages was really helpful for me. And like I instantly lifted my mood up. I didn't mention that in the article, but I got this idea from my teacher when I was, I think, 20 years old. He did it with us. He made us write little notes about everyone in the room on a little piece of paper, and then read it out loud and keep it in our wallet for a rainy day. And he still kept his, so that was pretty amazing. So I kind of made my own version of that little exercise. So that's another thing another thing to do, another tip about the imposter syndrome. And then remember, you're not alone, because everybody has it. So it's okay to feel this way. And, I was also thinking about it. I'm like, it might be hard, but I should be doing more of it. Laugh it off. I mean, just, use a little bit of humor. It's difficult for me sometimes, but sometimes I'm like, oh, come on, you kind of like add a little bit of humor, because that will reframe this whole imposter syndrome as well, and like maybe change your mood, right? It's not easy, but I thought this would be a good one to work on, at least in my case.
I love that, to laugh it off. So when you say to laugh it off, just kind of laughing at how bizarre you are and judgmental you are in yourself, at your own capabilities. It's like, why am I feeling so insecure about this when I've done it? Type of thing, and laughing about the absurdity of why am I questioning myself, my capability.
I absolutely love the whole idea of stopping myself. I've done back in the day the positive intelligence course that tells you all about the judge that we all have. You can call it this inner critic this time around. And I just love stopping my judge, crusher, as I call him, in his tracks. Right at the beginning, when I'm like, wait a minute, is my mind, is my brain working for me as a friend or as an enemy? I love stopping and just pausing and being like, no, it's not doing me any favor at the moment. So can you please get out of this mode and just try to be kinder, more compassionate to yourself, and just like, hey, it's okay. You're not the only one. So little tricks.
Definitely. I think we need to be more compassionate with ourselves. I think it's easy to be compassionate for others, but then forget that, to do it for ourselves is just as important.
Absolutely. And this is why, I'm a big fan of coming up with different acronyms and things for myself. So this year, let's see if I remember it. We are in May, so it's a year of 5 C's. So it's courage, compassion, connection, curiosity, and I knew it, there's one more, but I forgot. One more. So let's stick to 4 C's, but there's one more. Yeah. So it's like practicing it. Have I been compassionate with myself? Have I been courageous? Have I been connected with, myself and others? Sometimes asking all these questions help.
That's really awesome. And just bringing to our last question, what I ask everyone in the interviews is, what does feminine leadership mean to you?
That's there's tons of words coming. The feminine leadership. It's immediately, well, we talked about compassion just now. Women, are, kind of nurturing by nature. So I'm just thinking, compassionate, patient. There's empathy in there. So these are some of the generosity, like being generous with time, being generous with advice, with attention as well. There is also inclusiveness, I think. When I'm thinking about women, we are inclusive. Again, this is the nurturing nature, that we like to include everyone. And we also absolutely love putting other people in the spotlight, which is sometimes not doing us any favor, because then we are not, kind of putting the spotlight on ourselves. That's coming back to self-promotion. But we are absolutely fantastic, I think, as leaders, to elevate others, and nurture them and coach them and mentor them. So, there's this whole debate, women should be more like men, be more assertive, more confident, sometimes more like, put the foot down. But, there are so many studies that say that women are actually more effective leaders than men. So how about men being a little bit more like women? And overall, we have this beautiful definition of leadership, bringing both men and, feminine and masculine qualities to that definition. And, remembering about the self-awareness as well, because I think that women are kind of maybe more self-aware of themselves and others. So all this, emotional intelligence and IQ together, plus all the qualities from men and women. And I think we would have the best leadership ever, the way forward.
I love that. Bringing the yin and yang into leadership, definitely, exactly. I think is a good winning combination. I think because you can't go all the way to one spectrum or all the way to the other. There has to be middle ground, I think. And this brings me to one of my favorite sections as well in the interviews, the ABCs of your career. So starting with A, what was your amazing, affluent Oprah Winfrey aha moment when coming into career?
Well, I think there were many, but I was just, when I'm thinking about that question, I remember very well a situation when I was, again, coming back, that was the last days of my maternity leave, the second one, with the second child, and I was on my way in Uber, all dressed up, in your little black dress to the launch of a new venue. And I was sitting in Uber thinking, okay, today is a good day. It's kind of, we will have some drinks, we'll all feel fine. I'm going to ask my boss if I can make use, I'm going to be courageous enough, if I can make use of this 1 hour for breastfeeding for my child. So can I finish a little bit earlier at work, and then in the evening, obviously, continue working, like catching up on my work. And then I had this moment, I'm like, wait a minute, if she says no, that means it's a no. I can't leave earlier and I can't go back and be with my kid. And I'm like, I don't like the fact that somebody is in charge of my time and of my life in that case. So this is when I decided, I think it's time to start something new. and start my own business, because then that shouldn't be a problem anymore, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, I remember that was one of the key moments for like, okay, it's time for change. Like, this is the value of freedom and the value of time that I really want to honor now, and it's time.
I love that. Definitely an aha moment. And then what was a business blunder turned to blessing?
Oh, business blunder turned to blessing. Okay, so I don't know if I'm thinking like, I don't know if that's necessarily a business blunder, but a huge lesson for me, you know, like what I've learned. You know, I was, my father was very, very keen to have me have like straight A's, you know, primary school, high school, etc. So I was always learning a lot and learning everything and trying to be the best at everything, giving up on sports in the meantime, because then the grades went down. And I chose to study English and English literature at one of the universities back in Poland, where I'm from. And, you know, I was so prepped. I was brilliant. The written exam went fantastically well. And then the oral exam came. And Nicky, I'm telling you, I sat down, they asked me a question, and I froze. I froze. I couldn't say a word, nothing. And I was like, what's going on? Like, they asked me another question, nothing. It was, I don't know, I've never experienced anything like this. So I failed. I failed because I didn't say anything. And I cried so much. It was a horrifying experience for me, because I thought I nailed it. I thought I will, you know, it will be just a tick, right? I had all the knowledge. And I cried for a long time. And I was obviously, I failed. I was like, I'm a failure. And I thought I will be brilliant at it. And what will others say, etc. But, you know, looking back at it, I thought it was a blessing, because now, being a mom of two, 7 and 5-year-olds, so still a long way to go, I will not ask them, you know, the lessons learned is like, I will not ask them to be good at everything. I just want them to choose something and follow their passion. If it's sports, let it be sports. If it's art, if it's music, let it be this, you know. If other grades are lower, it's okay. I just want them to really follow their passion, and I want to help them nurture it and just be great at what they do.
Big lesson, definitely. Just, you don't have to be good at everything. And then C, what was your cinematic worthy cock-up moment?
Oh, this is, so it's around February, I think February 2012. This is my first week at the hotel that I mentioned earlier. And I'm saying this because it was cinematic and I wish the camera was there. So basically I just started, I walk in, I don't know many people who work there, and my boss tells me that we have a press conference happening today, and because of the weather, they all assumed that the conference will be outside. It's a beautiful sunny day. We have to move it inside and run it within the hotel. And I said, okay, fine, that's not a big deal. We just, you know, do this and that. I said, who is the press conference with? Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, and Andy Murray. And I'm like, my jaw dropped.
Wow.
That was the first week, and I'm like, this is awesome, but wait a minute.
Not a bad first week.
Oh no, then I had this realization like, oh, so this is what this job is going to be about. Pretty cool. So obviously I put all the excitement, you know, aside about like, I'm going to actually meet this guy and work with them, these guys and work with them for the remainder of the day. But I just wish that, I mean, we pulled it off, but I just wish that the cameras were there for us to frantically move everything from outside, inside, and trying to obviously make it perfect with the perfect camera angles and the perfect setup for all the journalists that were very keen to interview them and film them, etc., and all the lineups. So it was quite, you know, hard work, but overall we pulled it off. A great lesson as well in there. Always have plan B, because we didn't really, and we had to come up with this on the spot. So, but really, really memorable day with memorable pictures, and yeah, overall everyone.
So what went wrong that you needed a plan B?
Well, we didn't think that the weather will be bad.
Oh.
Right? We assumed the setup outside will be like, yeah, brilliant, this is the angle, you know, you have beautiful, you know, the water, the, you know, turquoise water, our hotel in the background, you know, the sail-shaped hotel, the famous one, this is perfect, everything, the tables there, then boom, it's too windy. Guys, we have to have plan B. Let's find a venue. Let's run. We don't have much time, and we have this really, really big stars coming to, well, have fun with us for this afternoon. So Yeah, but these are really great memories, and yeah, a fantastic first week, as you said. I had no idea what I was signing up myself for back in the day.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go to the quick fire round. So first thing that comes to the top of your mind, just say it. So one, morning or an evening person?
Morning.
Two, tea or coffee?
Don't hate me, please. Coffee, 100% coffee. Although, especially today for you, I'm drinking, wait a minute, something that my South African friend gave me.
Ross, I'm so proud.
I'm like, especially for you, Nicky. I'm
Love
drinking.
it. Thank you.
But overall, you're welcome. Overall, big time coffee fan. Yes.
And three, what is one thing in your daily routine or ritual that you couldn't live without?
Meditation.
Oh, really?
Definitely.
How long do you meditate for?
I mean, depends, morning, afternoon, like, you know, just before we met, I had my little session, just like 20 minutes of sitting, closing down, watching my breath. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. So it depends how much time I have, but it has to happen. I call it the daily dose of pause. It's on my, you know, goals sheet for every month. And, you know, I'm very happy to tick it off at the end of every month, like done, because this is a non-negotiable.
Daily dose. I love that. We all need, I think, take a moment. I was listening to, sorry, I'm derailing a bit here, but I was listening to a podcast, and it was Ariana Huffington.
Yes, Ariana Huffington, yes, yeah.
She was speaking to Jay Shetty, and she's also started Thrive Global now, and she says that meditation doesn't have to be hours on end or, you know, long. It can literally just be 60 seconds as soon as you wake up, before you do anything else, just lay in bed and meditate and manifest your day. And she goes, because she says it's about building micro habits to make them into actual habits and building it into, okay, now let's do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, going on and upward. And 4, 2 books that changed your life.
Okay, so one would be A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, an amazing memoir from the concentration camp. Very timely, I think, always. And second one would be a more recent one, Untamed by Glennon Doyle. That woman is wild. So I read this book, I think, 2 times, and I'm listening to her. She just launched her own podcast as well. I've watched her videos. I love this book, the way it is written. So I highly recommend it as well.
Awesome. That's going to be my next read. And 5, the last question, 3 people that you would have over for a dinner party, dead or alive.
You know, I've done this game before, and I had obviously the big wigs, but thinking about where I am right now, and just before I met you today, I also did a bit of this meditation, and I thought about my family a lot. So I would say my 3 people would be my mom, my dad, and my sister. I would have them for dinner, because we actually, just the 4 of us together, we have not had a meal, I kid you not, Nicky, I think for 20, just the 4 of us, for 25 years maybe, because it's always spouses these days and the kids. So there's grandchildren, and the grandchildren's now partners as well are coming, because my sister is a little bit older than me. So I would say these 3, mom, dad, and my sister, just to reconnect and just to talk about how we actually are.
Yeah, we kind of forsake the time that we have when we're in high school and university. We think, oh, no, we just want to get out the house and be independent. And then when you're older, you realize that importance and the sentimental value of family that you, oh, shucks, I actually wish I took more advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Fingers crossed that this summer I'll be able to go back. And actually, thanks, Nicky, because of that question and the answer I came up with, I'm gonna try and do it this summer, to organize this dinner.
I hope you manage to.
Thank you.
I really hope that you manage to get there this summer. That would be.
Thank you. No, thank you very much. I'll let you know. I'll send you a picture.
Please do. Please do. Thank you so much, Izabela, for taking the time to talk to me today. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure women are going to find such value in what you have to say, especially about the topic of imposter syndrome. This past weekend, I've spoken to so many of my girlfriends who have been struggling with it and with self-doubt, and now saying, I'm actually going to be speaking to this incredible woman who's going to about imposter syndrome and how we can help. I'm going to send you this article as well. So I really hope that they find the value that I have definitely after speaking with you as well.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Thank you for kind words and thank you for the opportunity. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm so glad I got to know you. And I hope we will stay in touch afterwards.
Definitely, 100%. Thank you so much, Izabela. Have a great day.